Welcome to New York's #2 sports show. The Rangers beat the Devils in overtime by a score of 3-2, and the game-winning goal, an unlikely one. It's Sam Carrick, who probably hasn't played a second of overtime as a Ranger, and I think has maybe barely played overtime at all in his entire NHL career. But well deserved for him, and it's actually his first goal at MSG as a Ranger as well. So a nice one at that. Rangers played pretty well in this game, and another game where I thought that their strongest period was the third period. So the Rangers in their first 38 games of the season only played one overtime game, and that was the home opener. Fast forward now in two straight games where they get it to overtime, and that's at least maybe half the battle, because in this long stretch of losing, Rangers were really losing handily, and the games weren't particularly close. As much as the goal differential was good when they were 12-4-1, totally on the flip side beyond that, where they really were not exactly, you know, playing a brand of hockey that was giving them a chance to win. So for me, it's still very tempered as far as what I think this team can do. They have a tough stretch coming up. Starting out with Vegas, who is, the top team in the NHL at the moment. So, but beating the Devils, a big rival, a team that dominated the Rangers the first two meetings where New Jersey won 5-1 and 5-0. It was nice to see, the Rangers actually be in this game and really earning the 2 points as well. So, a lot to discuss. And Igor Shesterkin returns as well, and I thought he had a good game. He wasn't tested like crazy, but definitely made some really key saves. The goaltending was good on both sides. I thought Jacob Markstrom was excellent for the Devils, and that's a really big acquisition by them. He is definitely a step up, big time, compared to goaltending that they've had in recent years. So it was Rangers' top players stepping up as well. I thought Adam Fox had one of his better games that we've seen in a while. He had a goal and an assist, and his first non-empty net goal of the season as well for Fox. Artemi Panarin scored a goal. A real key in this game was the special teams in favor of the Rangers. They get two power play goals, and the Devils get none. So that was really, really important. And the Devils, that's a team that has a great power play. I believe they were maybe ranked second. So for them to do that, to hold them off the board was key. Jack Hughes still was able to make his contributions. He had a goal and assist, and always very dangerous, especially against the Rangers. However, he makes a really bad turnover in overtime that leads to a 2-on-1 between Riley Smith and Sam Carrick. So Hughes at fault for that one right there. But maybe this can be a jumping off point. I'm not so sure of that. But, a step in the right direction. And the Rangers are 3-1-1 in their last 5 games as well, and points in 3 straight games. They still have yet to win 2 consecutive games, and they'll have to earn it big time against Vegas to break that streak. But they are accumulating points. And the thing is that those 2 wildcard spots, the Eastern Conference, are very much up for grabs. If this were like the Western Conference, let's just say, for example, to me, the Rangers would be absolutely, totally out of it. The only reason why this is even, to me, in the conversation is due to the lack of quality. After the first 6 teams in the East, teams 7 and 8, it could really be a slew of a number of different teams. The Rangers are one of them that, if they were to turn things around, could certainly vie for a playoff spot. So as far as the lineup is concerned, a couple of changes and some that were expected. Like I said, Igor back, so Louis Domingue sent down. So Jonathan Quick, the backup, and still searching for that 400th NHL win. When will he come in next? I don't know, because the Rangers don't have a back-to-back until about a week and change or so away. So not this coming weekend, but the weekend after that. So they'll figure by then Quick will have an opportunity. Defense looked the same. Zach Jones continues to rack up the healthy scratches, and The good thing is, as far as some of the newer acquisitions, they've done a nice job. Will Borgen specifically, Borgen and Vakanainen are not flashy, but playing a steady game, not making egregious mistakes. I think in the case of Borgen, I think he needed a little bit of time to adjust from Seattle. Seems to have happened. And I actually got to give some credit to Keandre Miller. I thought that, someone who's really struggled lately, someone who had a really bad turnover last game, I thought that Keandre Miller looked really good in tonight's game. So credit there. And look, that's a very important pair. That is a pair that gets top 4 minutes easily. Vakanainen and Schneider are the third pair, and you can certainly do worse as a third pair. But I think that they haven't been great either, to be fair. But overall, I think the Rangers' defensive play in this one against a high octane speed offense in the Devils, I thought the Rangers did contain them as best they could. As far as the forwards, Kreider continues to be on IR, and maybe in some ways it's led to better results. I don't know if you can completely. I don't know if it's fair to say that, but they have played a little bit better, but the sample size isn't big enough for me to go there. Philip Hedl, not surprising, was out. The good sign is that he did skate before practice today by himself. So we've seen that, where I guess with Hedl, because I don't know if we'll ever know the specifics here, but it seems like maybe it's just a total, abundance of caution, because we've seen that with him, where it's not like he's being shut down. He's continuing to practice. He's continuing to be involved in activities. So that's a good sign, despite the fact that it is, again, definitely concerning that he continues to kind of miss games here and there. But I hope that he's back sooner than later. So there's that. And Arthur Kaliev makes his Ranger debut. Didn't really do a whole lot on his line, which Johnny Brodzinski was the center with Berard and Kaliev. And then Matt Rempe was in for Jimmy Vesey, which isn't that much of a surprise considering that Rempe is back from his suspension, the opponent being the Devils. But Rempe was pretty quiet in this one. And I think for him, it's going to be tough, where he's a marked man. I think that was the words that he used to describe himself. He is. And so you hope that there's that in-between where he doesn't cross the line, but that he can be effective and a force in terms of playing that physical game and using that size somehow. So again, like out of all of Matt Rempe's games in his NHL career, this is definitely one of the least, not a whole lot going on to really draw from. But hey, at least he didn't take any bad penalties. But so as I was kind of getting into, so Vesey being healthy scratch, and look, like for him, it's why I wonder if, even if the Rangers turn things around, I just wonder if he will stay on the team. And look, he's good depth, don't get me wrong, and useful for sure, but it just seems like his role is completely diminished than it had been the previous 2 seasons, where game in, game out, he is that healthy. Well, obviously there's Brodzinski, right? Brodzinski, I guess, would be further down the line in some ways. And the reason why Brodzinski was more of a necessity in this game was the fact that Philip Hedl was out, so you needed more of a center. So the point is that with some of these, it's interesting that Kreider out, Hedl out, but yet Jimmy Vesey still doesn't crack the lineup. And again, I'm fine with that in terms of, you'd rather see a Brett Berard, you'd rather see an Arthur Kaliev, Adam Edstrom. Like, let me get the younger players, but just again, it continues to be very apparent that his role is nowhere near what it had been. Where it felt like him and Barclay Goodrow were kind of last season, and maybe the year before that as well, where they were a pretty important duo on the penalty kill. But Sam Carrick, it kind of brings me up to him. He has really done a very nice job, just kind of filling that fourth line center role, and in particular now with Hedl out, he and Brodzinski not really trusted that much. Yes, he is kind of the third line center, but also not really. I almost felt like, based on ice time in this game, that the Carrick line was almost as trusted. I mean, sans Rempe, but like even late in the game, they had Carrick and Edstrom on. I think with Brodzinski actually in Rempe's spot, but Carrick played 15 minutes. And a lot of that was due to, penalty kill stuff and obviously played a little bit in overtime, but that's a lot of minutes for him. And um, the fact that he was in there in overtime does speak volumes to a couple of things. Like, obviously, you have some forwards on the shelf that would normally be in that situation, but still, because when I saw it caught me by surprise, and lo and behold, he scores. So I just feel like in terms of it's a reasonable cap hit. I believe it's $1 million flat. It was a 3-year contract, and it's been very serviceable. I feel like these depth players, they're not amazing. You wouldn't expect them to be, but they're doing their job, and they're not being a complete detriment, which is good. But in this game, I thought that the Rangers' top six was very engaged, and we're playing very hard. I felt like Panarin had a little bit of an extra pep in his step in this game, and that was important. You know what I mean? When you have Jack Hughes on the other side, when you have some of the star power that the Devils do possess, it's important for Panarin to not just kind of fizzle out. And I felt like in this game he was really good. Mika Zibanejad is another one where I think just overall his game has been better. Is there some egregious plays within it? Are there some bad turnovers? Yes, there are. It's not all perfect, but there's been a lot of good. And it just seems like he's playing a little bit more confidence and just more noticeable out there in a positive way. So let's discuss this. Jacob Markstrom versus Igor Shesterkin is definitely one of the better goalie matchups you'll find. I thought the fact that it was Igor's first game back was good. The fact that he, you wouldn't have even really thought that he had been out. He missed, I guess it ended up being 4 games. And really, it probably would have only been 3. Like in terms of, like, really what ends up happening is, it ends up being Quick and Domingue in the weekend back-to-back. That would have been Shesterkin and Quick. So he basically misses about 3. Rangers did a pretty good job in his absence. But I felt as if the Rangers basically got better as the game went on. The Devils, really to me were the better team for the majority of the first 40 minutes, or at least maybe the first 30 minutes. I thought that New Jersey was the one that were more in the Rangers zone, more shot attempts, and then the Rangers really turned it around towards the end of the second, really the third period, very much so. And it starts out with the 6:01 mark, Adam Fox high-sticking Timo Meier, and this is where the Ranger penalty kill really gets to work and does a nice job. They kill that off, and then at 8:29, a too many men on the ice penalty, Rangers kill it off as well. Again, Devils' power play is very good, and the Rangers were able to limit high-danger chances. Then at the 12-minute mark, it is Curtis McDermott who interferes with Ryan Lindgren, and I'm not sure, not having watched all the Devil games, was McDermott in there because of Rempe? I'm thinking that that's possible, and if it's the case, it ends up hurting New Jersey as he takes that penalty, and the Rangers take advantage of it. And it's Adam Fox who scores his second goal of the season, his first non-empty net goal. It's a power play goal assisted by Vincent Trocheck. And this was a play where Trocheck wins the faceoff pretty clean, goes back to Adam Fox, and a rare slap shot by Fox. We don't normally see that at all. And it breaks the stick of Jonathan Kovacevic and goes past Markstrom. So it's fortunate, but it's taking shots. And to me, that was pretty key in both Ranger power play goals. I also want to mention, I don't think I have to this point, that the Rangers have only scored 4 goals against the Devils this season. 3 on the power play and 1 3-on-3. So if you really want to break it down, not great. And we know obviously that they got pulverized the first 2 games, and this game was better, but yet still there was no 5-on-5 goals against New Jersey. So Fox gets that goal there. Again, I like the fact that he just took the shot at a slap shot. It wasn't that it was necessarily heavy, but it did break the stick of Kovacevic and goes in. So 1-0 Rangers, and we know that their record is pretty good when they're leading after 1, and that kind of ends up being the case again here. However, in the second period, the Devils turn it up a notch, even though I thought the Devils' first period was pretty good anyway. And Let's see here. At 4:03 of the second, Jack Hughes scores a 16th goal of the season, assisted by Pesci and Palat. This was a play where a little bit of miscommunication, possibly, where Igor probably should have let the skaters, I mean, specifically the defenseman, handle this one. Instead, he goes behind the net, gets the puck, and rims it around right to Andre Palat. Gives the Devils clean possession. And Palat makes it past to Brett Pesci. Brett Pesci, with a lot of room, is able to shoot it, and it tips in front off of Jack Hughes. So Zibanejad was not close enough to him. The defensemen were not in position due to the fact that Shesterkin, I'm not going to say he misplayed it, but I don't think that was what they were intending. And so Hughes had a lot of room, and Pesci fires it, and they score. So, in a way, both goals kind of similar. The Ranger goal and the Devil goal. Fox and Hughes. So that ties it up at 1. And then at 8:28, it would be Jesper Bratt scoring his 15th goal of the season, assisted by Jack Hughes and Dougie Hamilton. What happens here is Dougie Hamilton with a really nice open ice hit on Will Cooley. So that turns the puck around and onto the stick of Bratt with good speed. He's definitely one of the fastest players in the game. And Bratt down the left side shoots and scores past Shesterkin. Braden Steiner was there trying to defend, but Bratt was unimpeded, and he scores to make it 2-1 Devils. So Devils have a lot of momentum at this point, and then even more so, the fact that Alexi Lafreniere high sticks Timo Meier at 8:34. On this power play, the Rangers would get a couple of really good opportunities penalty kill wise, especially one that was a 2-on-0 and kind of misplayed by Riley Smith, in my opinion, where he could have just gone on the breakaway and then hoped to either score or have Trocheck at the rebound. Instead, he kind of telegraphs a pass behind him to Trocheck, and then Trocheck shoots it wide. I don't really blame Trocheck. He was kind of handcuffed a little bit. Again, Riley Smith being way too unselfish kind of cost the Rangers there. So the score remains 2-1. Rangers do kill that off. And then 15:40, Nico Hischier slashes Vincent Trocheck. And this was very pivotal because, again, we know when the Rangers, and I'm not sure if what happened in this game, but the Rangers are trailing going to the third. They have not won a single game all year. They don't get into that situation as they're able to score a key power play goal. And it's that unit again, the number one unit, that gets it done. And it would be Artemi Panarin scoring a 17th goal of the season from Zibanejad and Fox. And what happens here is nice little give and go. So Fox has the puck. He gives it to Zibanejad in that bumper position. So that's worked out very well, where Trocheck's in the Kreider spot, and Zibanejad is in the Trocheck spot. And again, that seems to have really been effective for the Rangers as Fox gives it to Zibanejad, who then passes it to Panarin. Back to Zibanejad. Zibanejad takes a shot, and it goes off of Markstrom's. It goes off of Markstrom and right to Panarin, who rips it home into basically an open net. So I like that Mika is thinking shoot first there in that position. It just seems like, I think that there was a goal like that last game against Dallas. It just seems to be helping this power play, and a really big goal to tie it up at 2, because again, if you don't get that goal there, I just don't know. Not to say the Rangers couldn't have tied it up, but it is 2-2 going to the third, another tied game going to the third, just like the Dallas game the other night. And, it's interesting. The first maybe 3 minutes were Devil dominated. After that, though, the Rangers took over in a big-time way. And at 10:39, Nathan Bastian trips Artemi Panarin, gives Rangers a power play. It would be their one unsuccessful power play. And also the Devils, they themselves had a lot of good chances on the penalty kill. And eventually it led to Mika Zibanejad getting a slashing penalty of Andre Palat 11:34. So a little bit of 4-on-4. No one scores. And the Ranger penalty ends. And so the rest of the game, it was really a pretty entertaining game where there were some good chances on both sides, I felt like, Devils and Rangers. And it ends up going to overtime. And the Rangers had lost in overtime to the Dallas Stars last game. They were 0-2 in overtime this season. But that streak ends, and the possession kind of went back and forth. So a couple of bad turnovers. Again, Jack Hughes did not look good, and he's, again, the most dangerous player on the ice, but yeah, not a great overtime for him. And he turns the puck over. And Carrick was the one I think that deflected it, and Riley Smith was right there, and it becomes a 2-on-1 with Riley Smith having the puck. And I think that Markstrom probably felt as if, knowing the 2-on-1, knowing that Smith, who is, has much more of a career in goal scoring than Sam Carrick, he probably felt as if he might shoot. But Smith shows patience, passes the puck to Carrick, and just easily just snaps it home for the winner. So Sam Carrick, I mean, one of the most unlikely to score an overtime winner for the Rangers, gets it done. And an unfamiliar feeling for the Rangers this season. You just haven't really seen wins like this, just getting it done when they needed to. So Rangers are now 19-20-1, and they're one game away from the halfway point. And it'll be against the Vegas Golden Knights in Vegas, a 3-game road trip. Vegas, Colorado, and Utah. Not going to be easy, but we'll see what they can do. And they're lucky. The fact that the likes of the Ottawa Senators, the Boston Bruins, just to name those two specifically, have really been struggling a lot lately. And it's opened the door for some teams. And a team, for example, like the Columbus Blue Jackets, they're the one right now that's really taking advantage of it. They are in a playoff spot at the moment. Do I think that that will last? Probably not, but it speaks to the ineptitude of the conference. That all said, I want to see a lot more. And a win versus Vegas to, again, break this streak of the Rangers not winning 2 in a row would go a long, long way. But this is a start. Good win against their rival at MSG. Rangers win it in overtime by a score of 3-2 with the unlikely hero, the game-winning goal scored by Sam Carrick.